You're probably watching this video because you own a 1976 Corvette, and in your 1976 Corvette you have the famous Vega steering wheel, and you want to get rid of it. Well, I get it. So in this video I'm going to show you how to convert your 76 steering wheel into the earlier 69 to 75 steering wheel. Now Chevrolet put these steering wheels on all 1976 Corvettes. Why? I don't know. But a common name for them is the Vega steering wheel because they appeared on the Chevrolet Vegas of about the same time period. They also were in pretty much every second generation Camaro that existed back then. Why they did it, I don't know, but they did it. A lot of people don't like them because they're ugly, and a lot of people don't like them because the steering wheels actually deteriorate over time and they get all sticky and gross, and it's just a lot easier to do it this way. Luckily for you, these steering columns are basically identical. There's no difference between this column and this column other than the hub that holds the steering wheel on. So that's what we're going to be replacing today. It's kind of an expensive fix. Usually you'll spend around $300 between the steering wheel and all the associated parts you need to swap the column out. In this video I'll show you every single step, and it will be awesome. So make sure you watch the whole thing because I'm going to include all of it. Here are a few of the parts that you're going to need, and you know what's stupid is that they don't even give you all the actual parts in this kit. I'm hoping that the rest are going to be in here. So you will need a wheel hub with tilt and telescope column. Here's the part numbers for you from Corvette America. You need a lock ring spacer. You will need a steering column shield. You will need a telescopic lock like that. You will need obviously a horn button. You will need a horn contact, and then you will need a few screws. I don't know why they sent me these ones. Hopefully we use them later, but you will need the screws that hold the steering wheel on, and then you will need the horn contact screws that hold the horn assembly in. Now, I think everything else is in this column that you'll need. You'll need the back for this with the spring on it that holds the horn, the little horn plunger and all that kind of stuff. You'll need all the screws for this, which I will show you how to assemble in a little bit. But those are basically what you need. What you also need, which makes the price a little bit more expensive, you will need a steering wheel like that. Those go for about $100 to $150 used. So shop around and find a good deal. The tools you'll need will be a steering wheel hub puller and installer kit. I guess it's a lock plate remover kit. You will need a 7/8 inch socket. You will also need a 1/2 inch socket, which I didn't use, but you'll need it for this stuff. You will need a small tap and die. This is 8 by 32. And you will need a big screwdriver, and then you will also need a little screwdriver. Phillips, both Phillips, and that's pretty much it. Alright, step one for removing the column is pretty easy. Basically this horn button just kind of pops out. At least I thought it was easy. Like that. Like so. It pops out. So that's step one. Take the horn button off. Next, you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver, and basically you're going to take the horn contact out. This is going to be similar to what you have in yours, but the difference is these screws are the wrong length. So these little screws, there's 3 of them. You take them out. Now you may be wondering, hey, this looks a lot like what I got in the bag, but this arm is a lot longer because of this steering wheel. So you take that, you can't use. It's 76 only, I believe. After you take that out, you have your tilt. So this is the way the tilt works. So you unlock it and you can go in and out. Well, I could if if the box wasn't in the way, but that's how these work. It's a little different than the other one, but the same concept. So you're going to take these small screws out. Now these small screws right here, you need to keep these because you will use them when you put the column back together. Don't lose it and drop it on the floor like I just did. these screws right here, you keep them, okay? Also, you'll need to keep this center star screw in the middle, and that will just come right out. Just like that. That, when it goes in, it locks your telescope. When it comes out, it unlocks it. So you keep that, you need that. Next will be that piece, which that's 76 only, so you can put that in the trash or try to sell it or whatever you want to do. After that, what you want to do is you want to take out this little retainer right in here. There should be 3 screws for that, and I don't believe you use these for anything. That can just go in the other pile. This steering wheel is nasty. I'm touching it and it's getting all over my fingers. And that comes out. Next, you're going to need a 7/8 socket and a ratchet in order to get this nut off. I've already broken it off, so usually it's a little bit tighter than that. That comes off, which I believe you'll keep. Put that on that side. And from there, you need to get a steering wheel puller and pull the steering wheel off. So this tool you will use to take the steering wheel off and put the new hub on. And it's pretty simple. So we're going to start with taking it off. So I made this piece to go in here to stop the telescope. But it's the reason why I use it is because my little nub piece for the end of this is gone. So this is what I got. This is what the tool looks like. So when you guys use this, instead of that piece I put in, you'll use L, which is the pressure point. I've lost it, so I use what I have, but you'll be using that. You will then be using these screws, which I believe all the columns are the same. You will then install these bolts. I like to go at least 4 or 5 threads in. Usually these hubs aren't that tight anyway. And then you will use this, and you'll put the other side on as like so. There's only 2 places where these can go in. You're not going to screw it into the wrong spot. So don't worry about that. So what you want to do is kind of get these as level as you can. Then you use this. That threads in. Thread it all the way down. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to pull this steering wheel off because it's a pressure fit. Now I'm doing this with my hands, guys. It does never usually this easy. You see how that's just coming off, and boom, comes right off. Ta-da! See that? It's off. Now, one thing I will tell you, you see this horn contact retainer piece? They're always broken. Every single time, always, always, always broken. Replace it when you have this out, because you're never ever going to get it off in one piece. So I believe I have another one, and I will install it. So the next step after that is you have to remove this spring contact piece with 3 screws, and you're going to put it on this, okay? So basically it will go like that, and you make sure that the part for the horn sticks through this large hole right here, and then you can start assembling. I don't know if I got a bad hub, but I've run into the first problem so far, and that's when I went to put this, you know, the screws into that. Guess what? There's no threads in these 3 holes. So I'm going to have to take a tap and make threads. Now I'm going to check my other one. Maybe I just got a bad one, because I bought 2 of these kits, so. Or maybe they're all crappy. And maybe that's just what you get when you buy stuff from China. Nope, this one has no holes in it either. So That's crappy. Good thing I'm making this video so you guys know to get a tap. So there's one problem you're going to run into. Corvette America sells crap. Alright, so we'll tap this and then we'll get back to it. Once you have your new hub with the spring on the back, you're going to make sure that your horn contact is in. So basically it's 3 pieces. It's a little collar, a little plunger, and a spring. So the way it goes in is you put the spring in first, like so. Then you put the collar over the plunger, like that. And then you install, it's easier with a flat blade screwdriver, a little baby flat blade screwdriver, and then you just move the little nub over so that the spring won't push the plunger out. But it should be spring loaded. You should be able to do this when you're done. And that's just one little thing you got to do before you put everything back together. Make sure you replace this horn spring retainer. I'm not going to because I don't have one, but it's easy. It pops out and the new one pops in, and that's it. Just make sure it happens. Next is you're going to press this hub back onto the column. It's a pretty easy press. I mean, these threads aren't keyed or anything like that, so you can't really put it together wrong as long as you have the threads lined up. So, like that. There is a tool that you can use to do this, but honestly, all you really need to do is you need to use the nut, and that will do a pretty good job of pressing it on. Just be careful not to go too far. Pretty much once you're done turning by hand, you're pretty much there. So boom, right there, that's where it is. That's where it goes. A good rule of thumb to know if you are far enough in on the hub is to take this and set it up all the way out. So you'll see that all the way out there's no gap between the gray part and the black part. So that shows me that I'm where I need to be and the hub is far enough on. And now we can have the fun, start the fun of reassembly. The first thing that we got to do is we have to put on the new steering wheel. This is obviously a used steering wheel, so it'll be just fine. Now remember, it is keyed to a certain, there's an indent right here that will only go on this indented part right here. The steering wheel is the same. We're going to use our K1083 steering wheel mount screws. They're usually longer than this. That's just how it goes. So what I like to do is I like to kind of sandwich them together like this. Put it in like this, kind of line it up, because obviously you only have 2 hands. And it's actually easiest to do this with the bottom screws, because you can see where they go. And once you get one started, make sure they're not cross-threaded. It will go in just like that. Did I miss the hole? Maybe. And as you can tell already, doesn't it look so much more like the column, the tan column in the beginning? Alright, the next piece, we're going to use this, which came in your kit. We are going to use this, we're going to use the star and then these two little ones. So it's kind of a fumbly thing to do, but basically what you want to do is put this piece inside of this piece, and you're going to put it on like so. And then from there, you kind of let this one hang just a little bit. And then you're going to screw in this large star screw. I have a, thought I did, here it is. I have a large screwdriver to help with this. So this is how I set up the telescope on these columns. So you have these two little screws that will eventually go on either side of the star one. So as right now, the way that works is those screws will turn, as I turn this lever, in essence it will turn it like this. That's what it does. Back and forth like that. And so what you want to do is all the way to the right is locked. You don't want the column to move up and down. So I like to turn this not super tight, but you know, decently tight all the way to the right. Then you move your steering wheel lever or the telescope lever all the way to the right, and then just kind of pick the holes that will work the best for that. I'm going to pick this one. And I'm going to pick this one. So now we can test it and see if it works. So the way it should work, you should be able to rotate this over, and that should move this enough that we can get this to move in and out. So there we go, the box is in the way. So now you see this will now telescope, and whenever I do this, it won't telescope anymore. So we have that assembled correctly, and it's a good fit. Now what you don't want is if you move it over and it's still really hard to move, you want it to move pretty freely. You can just lock it into place. I'm going to lock it all the way out like that. Next we will assemble the horn mechanism. And there's a couple things I want to say. So I said in the beginning of this video that the one out of the 76 is different. I think they're the same. I'm looking at the bag that it came in, and it says 1967 to 1982. So I think the different ones are the ones that are the non-tilt ones. So if you have one of these, you don't necessarily have to buy a new one, but it's sometimes a good idea too. For example, this one still has all its plastic rivets, which is good, but there's a lot of corrosion in between this metal piece and this metal piece. And what happens when you press the horn button down, it makes contact, and that's what completes the circuit to blow your horn. I've had to clean the insides of these out and to make the horns work with like a wire wheel. This one probably would still work, but since I have a new one, I'm going to put it in anyway. Again, you need to make sure that this little arm presses on the plunger. Now, something that this kit did not come with, which I'm very disappointed, did not come with any of these spacers. So these are horn button spacers. What they do is they elevate the horn button, which will go on top, by this much, but that's enough that will make it so you can press the horn. If you don't have these spacers, what will happen is the horn will come in contact with this ring, and guess what? It's not going to blow at all. In order to put this together, it's a pretty simple deal. I like to take one of these long screws which come in your kit, and I like to hang my spacers on the screws. Just like this. That way I don't have to worry about them, and they're kind of where they need to go. Then what you need to do is you need to take them and put them inside of this ring, and then feed them into the spots where they need to go. And you'll see where they need to go. There's only 3 holes left where anything can go. And you can see as I feed these in that the plunger will eventually touch the little arm inside of here. You take your third one, Kind of shove it in, and boom, you're ready to go. Just like that. And then the last thing you want to do, that feels good, you want to test your tilt one more time. Which goes in just like that. And then last but not least is the horn button. So this horn button comes all apart. So you can paint it, I guess. I haven't yet put it together yet. But I just kind of want to show you, once you snap that on there, that's what the column's going to look like. And guess what? Now these columns are identical. This 76 column is now a 69 to 75 column. So definitely worth your time to do, and I spent $300 on this conversion kit instead of buying another column, which go from $600 to $1,200 depending. And now you can see that the columns are basically identical. And if you look at these columns, there's really no difference in between them other than the color now. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope somebody actually uses it and converts their column over. I'm sure there's a few little details that I missed, but that's pretty much it. That's pretty much how it works. If you have any questions, you can let me know. And if you want to buy one of these columns, you can let me know as well. So I hope you guys check out the rest of the videos on my channel, and I hope this helped out somebody. So until next time.